today. I'm going to be talking about some certain gel coats that we have recently developed, and I'm going to introduce myself. I'm working in the POLI Research and Development lab, and also I'm the director of the lab for the time being, and I'm continuing making our researches. We are developing the resins, also the gel coats in our lab, and all the innovations that we have done so far is delivered and shared in such conferences with you professionals. I'm going to be talking about gel coats, and then I'm going to leave the floor to Mr. Jam, and he's going to be talking about some new innovations about our companies and the other alternative products that we have at hand. Of course, if you have any questions, the floor is yours in the meantime. By the way, we also have a Q&A session in the end of our conference, but if you have in between any kind of a question, you are more than welcome. And the presentation that I'm going to be making is going to be about gel coats, and I'm going to be talking about the performances of these new gel coats. And I'm going to share some data about it and show you what we have done recently. And in the end of my presentation, I'm going to be talking about some certain information about the coloring of the gel coat systems. As you know, the unsaturated polyester resins have a great resistance and are used as covers, as you know, in different types of applications. And with their resistance towards water, heat, and frost, these are actually materials that have been used for a long period of time. According to their types and their performances, of course, it has some certain features, and we are presenting these features to you for years and years. Indeed, in the sector, there's constant innovation and change. We are looking for more resistant, more aesthetic, more bright, a more secure features. That it should be flexible, that it should actually resist any type of a certain damage. Indeed, such studies are continuing to be done in the sector. And in the last years, another feature has been also added. All the chemicals, what are the chemicals going to be in the gel coats? What has changed in the new regulations? More environmental friendly and human friendly alternatives are searched for, because there's also necessity to work on them, and we have started to develop products of that kind. And within this context, we have created our new gel coats. They are new gel coats, but the names are the same, 215, 213. These are the gel coats that the industry already knows, but we have made some certain changes in the features of it. And with these features are exclamated as plus. What we mean about plus is that the material is more resistant to the atmospheric conditions, water osmosis, and as I told you before, it is better. The steer-end, for instance, ratio is even better within the context of the regulations. The steer-end ratio is lower, and this is what we have achieved. As for the performance, what we mean here is a better UV resistance and a better preservation of the brightness, and a lesser steer-end ratio according to the standard gel coats. I'm not going to give you many numbers, but I'm going to present you some certain graphs. And there are a few, two plates that I want to hand you so that you can see the product. These plates are normal gel coats, industrial ones. Isonegate Ts and 215 plus versions. There are 3 gel coat plates, as you can see. And what we mean by that is that you can see it on the graph for the now. The change of the brightness, you can see we have defined it as a ratio. We try to make a certain type of a classification about this. Pre-test of the plate and the post-test, post brightness of the test, you can see how much of a change there is. Well, at the optimum stage, it is at 30% of a brightness. According to the structure, of course, that brightness is decreasing. In isophytic, it is MPGs, it is at about 10%. But with pluses, we have decreased them by 10 to 5 even. The composite part, the resistance, the brightness is going to have a more longer life cycle. This is what we try to actually achieve, and you can see it on the slide as well. The loss of brightness for the PolyJet 215 plus is approximately less than 5%, as you can see. And one other issue about this matter is the change of the color, which is becoming a little bit more of a yellowish color according to the aging test when we parallelly do the test with all of these plates. And we have compared the ratios. If we regard the end gel coat as 100 with the most yellowing plate, we can see here that the PolyJet Plus, the change of the color, this color change is decreasing up to 20%. You can achieve a better color at about 80%. So if you use the Superjet, for instance, the color change will be at least 50% less. This is what we try to actually show you. And besides, one other important issue is that now with the new regulations that have been enacted, the legal authorities have brought us some certain limits that we need to abide by. As you know, the United Nations and the European Union regulations and directives have been also translated into Turkish and published. These are studies that have been started 15 years ago. And we have been working on this matter for about 8 years. And in the last 2 years, we have initiated these studies in Turkey as well. Within the context of this study, the harm class of styrene has changed. Now, instead of this, with 3 pictograms, the harm class have been taken as a little bit more prominent. There are some certain standards that countries have to do. In the developed countries, the emission standards and the professional
ppm ve 200 ppm'e doğru çıkmaya değerlere doğru güncellenmeye başladı. Fakat endüstri
On the other side, the professional exposition has been actually decreased to 50 ppm, and in some countries it is at 100 ppms. This is what we try to achieve with the new gel coats. Polyester resins, there was a low styrene emission that would be possible to be realized. When the LEF has been actually prepared, so that they are exposed to lesser styrene, we could actually bring new solutions so that they cannot be exposed to so much styrene. But as for the ratios so far, we couldn't make much of a change. And with these plus versions, we had the opportunity to achieve it. Besides the atmospheric aging, there is also the styrene ratio. According to the normal gel coats, we had the opportunity to decrease the amount by 20%. And besides, the total monomer ratio is been decreased 25%. With monomers, we could have the opportunity to have a higher performance. With 213 and 215 plus, we have now the opportunity to present it to you. Again, if we talk about the products, as for the utilization field of PolyJet 213, we can talk about some certain products as such as composite structural pieces and elements. It can be used in the outer facades or in the and with the synthesis of such products, we prefer using 213 plus so that we can have a long-lasting composite part. And 215 plus has a higher performance compared to 213. Of course, we had already a difference between 213 and 215. 215 had higher osmosis in the past as well, but we have kept that performance as well here in this new product. We use it generally in the maritime turbine blades, where vibration is high and where resistance is important. We choose to use this gel-coat polygel in this type of products. This is what I want to say about polygel, and on the other side we also have a new gel-coat coloring system. And by the end of the year we are going to actually complete it. Polygel, apart from all the gel coats, is actually dwelling on the matter of colors. Polymatch is with a machine. Polymatch is a system that provides you to create a color by a machine. With small amounts and with a higher amount, in different locations, it is possible to color the gel coats. And the most important issue here is that it is a high-performance machine having pigment cakes as a basis gel coat. We prefer 215. And for instance, when we call the Shural color and the one bucket of oral color can easily be done in any part of the world. The startup is going to be made on 2018 in the places where we make our localization. It's a novelty within the system. This is all I can say for now. If you have any questions, of course you can ask them now, or you can ask your questions by the end of my presentation. Now I would like to give the floor to Mr. Can, who is the general director of our company and is going to be talking about new product alternatives and also some other products.